Sometimes, just before a significant shift in life, things may feel peculiar. Not necessarily chaotic or entirely serene, but as if something unseen is subtly changing beneath the surface. The conversations around you seem somewhat hollow, and the routines that once brought comfort now feel disconnected. Even the ambitions that once fueled your energy may suddenly feel devoid of meaning. This can be unsettling because the mind has been conditioned to believe that progress is about constant movement, doing, and activity. But in reality, this quiet space you're experiencing is one of the most profound signs that your life is on the brink of transformation. It's not stagnation or apathy. What you're feeling is a recalibration. This moment is not a pause. It's a dynamic state, much like a seed in the soil, unseen to the eye, but stirring with potential. In the unseen realms, all possibilities exist at once, just as every outcome exists in potential before it manifests into reality. You are in that same space now. You stand in a liminal doorway where the old self begins to fade, and the new self forms within the quantum field of existence, already present but unseen by the ordinary eye. The mind, accustomed to linear progress, may struggle with this. It seeks evidence, results, and steps to follow. But life doesn't always unfold in ways the mind expects. What you are feeling is the dismantling of old patterns, old frequencies that have long held you to a particular reality. Imagine your life as a vast web of beliefs, thoughts, and energetic signatures, all intricately woven together. For years, these patterns have anchored you to a specific way of being. Yet when the time is right for you to grow, this web begins to loosen. Old threads snap, energetic contracts dissolve. And because this change first occurs at the energetic level, you may notice an overwhelming stillness. You feel a void, as if your drive is fading. But this is not a sign of something going wrong. It's the sign that something powerful is about to be born. Spiritually, many traditions describe this phase as the void, the fertile darkness where potential is seated, waiting to bloom. In this quiet space, your inner being is recalibrating itself to align with the reality you are about to step into. The tools you once used to navigate life may no longer work here because they belong to the version of yourself that is now being left behind. Your job now is not to panic, but to embrace the stillness and trust it. This silence is not empty. It is full of divine information, rearranging the structure of your life in ways your conscious mind may not yet comprehend. And there is scientific support for this. Research into neuroplasticity shows that the brain requires periods of stillness and quiet to rewire itself. When you step into a new frequency, your nervous system is adjusting, recalibrating your brain's models of prediction, and reprogramming your body to accept a new state of being. This phase of recalibration is necessary because you cannot carry the chaotic energy of the past into the stability of the future. You must release before you can receive. Think of it like the quiet before the start of a magnificent symphony. The lights dim, the audience falls silent, and the musicians prepare. That silence is not wasted. It's the prelude to something powerful. Or think of it as the tension in a bow before an arrow is released. The stillness isn't a delay. It's the force that will propel you forward. Right now, life or the universe is drawing you back, not to hold you, but to launch you. There is a trajectory before you that cannot be reached through effort alone. The key here is understanding that most people misunderstand this phase. They panic in the stillness, mistake it for something wrong, and begin to fill the void with old distractions and habits. However, the more you resist this process, the longer you remain suspended in between these two timelines. The ones who make the leap are those who trust the process, who lean into the quiet and recognize it as evidence of progress, not the absence of it. When you begin to view this strange calm as the quantum loading screen of your next chapter, you will notice subtle signs indicating that the field around you is realigning. A chance conversation that sparks a new insight, an unexpected release of emotion, or a sudden moment of clarity about something that had confused you for months. These are not random occurrences, they are micro-adjustments in your frequency, aligning you with your new reality. So, if you find yourself in this space, feeling a bit lost but knowing you cannot go back, you are exactly where you need to be. This is the precise vibrational space where true transformation begins. And in the coming moments, I will show you how to embrace this phase, not just to survive it, but to use it as the fuel for your quantum leap. Because once you understand this space for what it truly is, you'll stop resisting it and begin moving forward with clarity, trust, and the certainty of your inevitable transformation. One of the most misunderstood aspects of a profound transformation is that it rarely begins with an obvious burst of energy or a dramatic sign from the universe. More often, it starts with friction. Not the chaotic kind that causes visible turmoil, but the subtle, disorienting moments when things that once fit you seem no longer to align. Relationships that once felt effortless may now feel constricting. Work that once gave you meaning may feel empty. Even your inner dialogue may begin to sound unfamiliar, as if it's coming from a version of yourself that no longer exists. This is the phase of frequency mismatch, the moment when your soul is accelerating toward a higher vibration, while parts of your life remain rooted in the old frequency. In quantum terms, this is known as decoherence. It's when two systems, your inner state and your outer reality, are no longer in harmony. The tension created by this disharmony becomes undeniable, but it's not a mistake. It's a signal. A signal that the energetic blueprint of your current reality can no longer support the person you're becoming. Think of it like trying to run the latest software on outdated hardware. The system will lag, glitch, and eventually crash, not because something went wrong, but because an upgrade is needed. And that upgrade is your quantum leap. Spiritually, many people begin to question everything at this point. Why does it feel like I'm falling apart when I'm supposed to be leveling up? The truth is, you're not falling apart. You're falling out of alignment with your old timeline. That dissonance is the very force that will propel you into a new reality. Imagine standing with one foot on each of two boats, drifting in opposite directions. At some point, you will have to choose which one to commit to. The boat that matches your frequency will feel like relief, even if it requires leaving the old behind. Here's where most people get stuck. The mind, uncomfortable with uncertainty, tries to cling to the past. It will urge you to fix what's breaking, to smooth over what's falling apart, to restore what is fading away. But in the realm of divine order, the restoration of the old is a step backward. What feels like a breakdown is, in truth, the shedding of density, old beliefs, patterns, and identities that cannot travel with you to your next stage. If you rush to patch them back together, you delay your growth. But if you allow them to dissolve, you accelerate your journey. This principle is mirrored in physics. When an electron moves to a higher orbital, it absorbs a precise amount of energy, not more, not less. Once it reaches that threshold, it immediately transitions to a new state. There is no in-between. Similarly, your quantum jump happens the moment your frequency aligns with the reality you're moving into, not when you force it, but when you allow the old frequency to dissolve so the new one can take its place. This is also why too much action at this stage is counterproductive. The frantic need to fix, prove, or push forward is a sign that you're attempting to bridge two incompatible realities with effort. But effort is always slower than alignment. The quantum field doesn't care how hard you work. It cares about how purely you vibrate. A single moment of alignment will do more for your transformation than weeks of unfocused effort. If you've noticed lately that things are falling away, friendships, opportunities, even parts of your own personality, try asking yourself not, how do I get them back, but rather, what is this making space for? This small shift in perspective changes your frequency from resistance to receptivity. In the quantum realm, resistance is like static, scrambling your signal. Receptivity is a clear channel, calling in a reality that's already aligned with your highest desires. And here's the paradox. The more you try to rush through this phase, the longer it lasts. Think of it like a necessary decompression chamber. Just as in scuba diving, if you ascend too quickly, your body can't handle the rapid change in pressure. Spiritually, the same principle applies. If you leap without integrating the energetic changes, your system will pull you back to stabilize. Patience, trust, and presence are not passive states. They are active components of your leap. So if your life feels like it's half erased, and you're standing in the rubble of what no longer fits, but you can't yet see what's being built, know that you are exactly where you need to be. This is not a detour. This is your launch pad. The dissonance you feel is the energy building, preparing to propel you into the new reality that already exists for you in the quantum field. Your only job now is to release your grip on the old and let the flow of the new current carry you forward. Here's the truth. Your quantum leap is not waiting for the right time. It's waiting for the right you. The moment you stop trying to fix what's leaving and begin attuning to what's arriving, everything will fall into place. And when the shift occurs, it will be sudden, seamless, and with a sense of inevitability. You'll wonder why you ever doubted it. Before a quantum leap, you may also notice your emotional world feels more amplified, like someone has turned up the volume on every emotion you feel. One moment, you're brimming with excitement, certain that something extraordinary is about to happen. The next, doubt creeps in, whispering that maybe you're imagining it all. This is not moodiness or inconsistency. It's the emotional signature of a system in transition. In neuroscience, the brain operates on predictive coding, which means it constantly runs mental simulations of what it expects to happen based on past patterns. Even as your higher self pulls you toward a new reality, your subconscious may still cling to the old blueprint, trying to run an outdated program because it feels safer. In quantum terms, this is superposition. It's the strange state in which two or more possible realities exist at the same time. Right now, you exist in both timelines, the old one you've been living and the new one you're stepping into. Your emotions become the flicker between two realities. When you experience waves of hope followed by moments of uncertainty, it's not a setback. Rather, it's a sign that your energy is oscillating between states as the field recalibrates, searching for coherence. The stronger the oscillation, the closer you are to the pivotal moment, the collapse of the dual realities into one, where only one timeline becomes active. This is why emotional fluctuations before a quantum leap can feel so intense. The stakes feel higher because your inner compass is recalibrating in real time. Every belief, memory, and attachment you've carried is being scanned by your consciousness, asking, does this belong to the new reality, or is it a remnant of past? This process is emotional by nature because emotions are the chemical signals of transformation. They alert your body that you are entering unfamiliar terrain, and your body's instinct is to seek safety, often by holding on to what is familiar, even if it's no longer aligned with who you are becoming. The common mistake here is to interpret doubt as proof of failure. Many people start thinking, if I were really close to my quantum leap, I wouldn't feel this much fear. But this is similar to thinking that turbulence means the plane isn't flying. In truth, turbulence means you're passing through layers of atmosphere that require adjustment. Your emotions are adjusting to an altitude you've never experienced before. The faster you learn to ride these currents, rather than gripping the seat in panic, the smoother your journey becomes. Here's a powerful shift in perspective. Instead of labeling your emotions as good or bad, begin to view them as energy signatures. Joy, excitement, fear, uncertainty. They're all currents of energy moving through your field. None of them are inherently wrong. They are simply pointing to where your focus is in this moment. If you react to them as obstacles, you reinforce the oscillation. But if you observe them as indicators, you start to stabilize your signal, aligning it with the reality you're moving toward. From a spiritual perspective, these amplified emotions are a form of initiation. The universe is not testing you. Rather, it's asking if you can maintain your frequency even while the winds of change swirl around you. The timeline you are stepping into will undoubtedly bring new challenges, unfamiliar experiences, and uncertainties. Your ability to remain coherent and steady right now is what will prepare you to thrive when those new realities manifest. In this way, emotional turbulence is not a test that you can fail. It is the training ground that strengthens your vibrational stability. One practice that accelerates this stabilization is conscious neutrality. When excitement peaks, don't cling to it as the only sign that you're on track. When doubt arises, don't treat it as a signal to turn back. Instead, breathe deeply into both states, knowing that they are simply temporary fluctuations within a much larger trajectory. Imagine yourself as the eye of the storm, centered, watching the weather shift around you, but not being swept away by it. This level of emotional mastery is the hallmark of someone who is moments away from collapsing into their chosen reality. So if lately your emotions have been all over the place, know this: you are not unstable. You are in motion. The field is adjusting to hold you in the frequency of your desired timeline. The more gracefully you navigate these waves, the quicker the oscillation resolves into a single, stable reality. Soon, you will no longer be flickering between worlds. You'll have landed fully in the one you've been calling in. Most people imagine the final test before a quantum leap as if the universe were a stern teacher at the front of a class, holding a red pen and waiting to mark their paper. But the truth is far more intimate and far more empowering. This isn't the universe deciding whether you're worthy. It's your own subconscious running a final diagnostic, surfacing the last remnants of your old identity, giving you the opportunity to consciously choose whether to let them go. You might find yourself suddenly faced with challenges that you thought you'd already outgrown. A conversation that pushes your buttons, triggering the same emotional reaction an old relationship used to. A financial situation that stirs up the same scarcity mindset you experienced years ago. Or perhaps a wave of self-doubt that feels eerily familiar. These moments are not punishments, they are mirrors, reflecting back the frequency you once lived by, so you can decide whether you still wish to hold that energy. From a neuroscience perspective, your brain is wired for efficiency. It will always reach for the most well-worn pathways first, the familiar responses, beliefs, and behaviors you've practiced over the years. When you're on the verge of a quantum leap, those neural patterns still try to fire, hoping you'll give them one last confirmation to stay in place. But the only way to rewire them is not through force. It's through demonstration, behaving as the new version of yourself, even when the old triggers are right in front of you. Every time you choose the higher frequency response, you weaken the old pathway and strengthen the new one. In quantum mechanics, this is described as the collapse of the old probability wave. Until you make a new choice, both versions of you, the one who reacts from the past and the one who responds from alignment, coexist. But the moment you act in alignment with the frequency of your new timeline, you collapse the old version, and the new one becomes the only active signal you're broadcasting into the field. This is why the challenges right before a shift feel so charged. They are the final superposition between who you were and who you are becoming. Spiritually, this stage is less of a test and more of a ceremonial crossing. It's the moment when you stand at the threshold, holding the key to your new reality. And the only thing the door asks of you is to respond from the frequency you've been cultivating. If you meet scarcity with gratitude, anger with compassion, and doubt with unwavering presence, you're not just symbolically ready for your quantum leap, you're vibrationally aligned with your new timeline. The field doesn't need to approve you. It only reflects who you are being. And in this moment, being is everything. The danger here is misunderstanding the signs. Many people interpret these resurfacing challenges as proof they are failing or going backward. They think, if I'm still attracting these situations, I must be off track. But the truth is, the very appearance of these situations signals that you've shifted enough for them to be released from your field. You can't clear what you haven't yet outgrown. The fact that you are aware of these old patterns now, and that you're even questioning how to respond differently, is the strongest sign that you are on the cusp of the leap. Think of this like a simulation in a flight trainer. Pilots train for turbulence so that when it happens in real life, they already know how to stabilize the plane. The final tests before a quantum jump are like your simulator runs. They provide the opportunity to embody your new state in conditions that would have once knocked you off balance. Pass this test, meaning respond from your upgraded frequency, and you're no longer imagining your new reality. You're living it in real time. So if right now you're experiencing tension, setbacks, or people from your past resurfacing, don't automatically assume you're stuck. Instead, see it as the clearest sign that you are brushing right up against the threshold of your quantum leap. This is the moment to hold your alignment with the most intensity. Act as if the leap has already happened because, in the quantum field, it truly has. Anchor your decision to align by affirming, I'm ready to pass the test. Let this be your quantum signal that you've already crossed the threshold. Here's something nobody tells you about a quantum leap. It doesn't come with fireworks. In movies, the big transformation moments are always dramatic. Fireworks, swelling music, and clear before and after scenes. But in real quantum reality, the leap often arrives quietly. One day, you wake up and realize that the fear you used to feel isn't there anymore. The problem you obsessed over now feels irrelevant. A conversation that would have triggered you last month now leaves you completely unmoved. The shift doesn't announce itself. It simply becomes who you are. And because it feels so natural, your mind may even try to downplay it, asking, "Was that it?" Understanding the nature of quantum change is key here. In physics, when an electron jumps to a higher energy level, it happens instantaneously. There's no gradual climb, no visible struggle. One moment it's in one orbit, the next it's in another. And that's exactly how your timeline shift happens. The arrival isn't about fireworks or dramatic moments. It's about resonance. The old frequency falls away so completely that it becomes hard to remember why it ever felt like home. From a neurological perspective, this is the integration phase. Your brain has stopped firing the old circuits and is now solidifying the new ones. You no longer have to consciously try to think differently. It becomes your default state. This is why so many people miss the moment of their leap. It feels as natural as breathing. And that's the point. The version of you who exists in your new reality doesn't see it as a breakthrough. They simply see it as normal. Spiritually, this quiet arrival is the most powerful confirmation the universe can offer. It's a sign that you've matched the frequency so completely that there is nothing left to manifest. You're just living it now. There's a deep peace in this stage. It feels like you've stopped chasing and started embodying. Ironically, it's often when you stop looking for signs that you start noticing them everywhere. Unexpected opportunities appear, people cross your path at the perfect time, synchronicities stack up like breadcrumbs leading you forward. But here's the temptation to poke the field, to go back to overanalyzing, overvisualizing, or second-guessing, because you think manifestation always has to be dramatic. But the truth is, drama belongs to the old timeline. The new one is about flow. Trust that just because the jump felt quiet, it doesn't mean it was small. In fact, the quiet shifts are often the most permanent because they happen at the identity level. They don't just shift your circumstances, they shift who you are at the core. This is the moment to lean into embodiment. Instead of asking, did it work? Ask yourself, how do I live fully as this version of me? Every choice you make from this point forward reinforces the reality you've jumped into. Every action becomes expression of alignment rather than a desperate attempt to create change. And that's when the quantum field responds with even greater coherence, weaving new possibilities into your life effortlessly. So, if you've been expecting your leap to feel like an explosion, pay attention to the subtle shifts. Notice the quiet mornings where you feel lighter, the conversations that flow without tension, the sudden clarity about decisions that used to paralyze you. These are the hallmarks of arrival. You're already in the new reality. Now, your only job is to continue living there. Here's the truth. If you made it this far in this journey with me today, it's not by chance. You're hearing this message because you've already been resonating with a higher timeline. You've already been tuning into the frequency of the version of you that embodies everything you've been asking for. This is no longer about getting there. You are there. Now, the work is in stabilizing, integrating, and expanding. In quantum terms, the leap you've made is just the beginning. The quantum field responds not so much to desire, but to coherence, and you just proven to yourself that you can hold that coherence long enough to collapse an entirely new reality into place. The next step is to make this frequency your home. That means no more slipping back into the old patterns when life becomes quiet. It means no more testing the universe to see if it's still working for you. It's about anchoring yourself so deeply in this new identity that it becomes immovable, unshakable. Remember, you're not here to force life into shape. You're here to align with the reality that already contains everything you've ever desired. Then you watch it unfold with such naturalness. It feels almost effortless. That's the beauty of living in harmony with the quantum field. I'll see you in the next chapter. Until then, stay coherent, stay present, and trust in the quiet power of the leap you've already made.